traditionally in our culture would be not far from here in the community center, where we all grieve together, where we all share food and have conversations, and but unfortunately this year, y'all know how the pandemic is. But regardless of that, I want you all to know that the family have received the love and the messages and the support. Despite all of that, we see it and we appreciate it. So thank you. Keep our sister in your thoughts and your prayers. And even though we are laying her to rest, but I know that we're going to continue the work. If Rahwa has impacted your life, then the best way to honor Rahwa is to continue the work. This community is still hurting. This world is in a chaotic state. Y'all see it. And if Rahwa was still here, I know one of her last messages was to vote, to organize. Not far from here, we have a lot of brothers and sisters who are, without a shelter, without a food, without all of that. So continue that work, serve. So when our time comes too, this world is a temporary space. So when our last chapter and last page is written, people can remember us in the way that they remember our dear sister. She led in that way too. Thank you all again. We're going to remain here. Come write a message. This is the book here. If you have something to share, let us know. We're here. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you.
I'm Rahwa's younger brother. Didn't really have a story to share, but just one thing I wanted to impart on everybody is something my sister Asmeta and I shared with me yesterday is like a motto Rahwa used to live by. Asmeta, forgive me if I get it wrong, but it was like, even when you're going through your revolution, take time to enjoy that moment. So right now, as we're all mourning and grieving together, I want us to think about how Rahwa would have wanted that to happen. It would have been with laughter. It would have been with food, it would have been with music, it would have been with stories, and it would have been enjoying each other's company. That's how she lived, even when she was, standing up for her family in the neighborhood and for women's rights and for everybody's rights. Well, no matter what she was going through, no matter what fight she was going through on the community's behalf, that's how she carried herself. She did it, like I said, she did it in a positive way when you wouldn't know she was trying to climb mountains, but you wouldn't know the way she carried it. So I just, I know how we're all feeling together right now, but I just, when you get to that place, just try to remember how Rahwa took on conflict. It was positivity, it was with family, it was with love. We love you all. Can't tell you how grateful we are for everyone's love and support.
Weezy was a healer. She found people and she loved them unconditionally. And she met them where they were at and brought them, if they were in a dark place, she would bring them to light, because that's what she was. She was a light that burned extremely bright. And sometimes those are the stars that don't necessarily have the longest life, but they have the biggest impact. And to me, she's special. Obviously, to all of you, she was special. But like my brother said, she had a gift, and we were blessed to be a part of it.
What's up, y'all? Me and Rahwa is one of the few people in life I ever called a best friend. You know what I mean? There's a few more in this audience. Not audience, but gathering, sorry. I just wanted to talk about the hood because I've shared this story online, but I know we're not all connected online. A group of us wanted to go get Ethiopian food one night. And we wanted to go to Masab, which was this Ethiopian restaurant down on 12th and Jefferson. And Rahwa wasn't even really hungry. She didn't even want to eat. But she said, the only way I'm going to hang out with you is if you go to an Eritrean restaurant. So we're like, sure, name a place. She said, I think there's one on 20th and Jackson. that was Hidmo, and we walked in, and the previous owner looked at Rahwa and could name both of her parents, and he looked at me and he could recognize both of my parents, and they had a conversation. And is this Merritt here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's here somewhere.
He said the place was for sale, and I remember going to y'all's house that night and just staying up super late and imagining what this place could be. It was Asmara, Rahwa, and me, and we thought that it could be a home, you know what I'm saying, for like all the different community organizers we knew, from, you know, P9 Seattle to Youth Speak Seattle to oh my God, there's just so many, you know, a space for all ages hip hop shows, for all the youth work that we were doing, all these things and more, you know what I mean? And I know that y'all were going through a transition at that time. I think there was, I was trying to remember if y'all were talking about moving or what it was, but I know after that night, y'all made the decision to buy this place, and I feel like my life was never the same. Your lives were never the same, and Seattle was never the same. You know what I mean? Like, Hidmo, Rahwa, Ismerit, the Habtes, everyone here made history and changed this whole city for the good. You know what I mean? And that's something that, even though it was a short period of time, it was 4 years, like, its impact has ripples that are still going out and, like, are felt. Like, Ava DuVernay, perhaps one of the most important filmmakers of her time, had one of her first showings here. You know what I'm saying? Like, Rahwa worked with Pramila Jayapal really closely before she is where she is in U.S. government. There's so many artists that are here right now who perform for the first time in these walls. You know what I mean? And it was all centered. One thing I didn't say online, but Rahwa was really inspired by a guy named Jeffrey Canada, who had something, I can't remember if it was the Harlem Children.
Harlem Boys School or something like that.
I think it was a Harlem Children's Zone. And the thing that really inspired her about the Harlem Children's Zone, I remember she talked about it all the time, was that it was the idea that everybody who comes through here and everybody in this neighborhood is important and valuable, and nobody should fall through the cracks. You know what I'm saying? And I really feel like she lived that, you know? The fact that Hidmo was never a nonprofit is why this was so successful, because it was never accountable to funders. She was accountable to every single person that walked through the door, and she bent reality to meet people's needs, to meet where they were at. You know what I mean? Like, Dakota came in, I know Dakota's here, and said, I want to do an all ages hip hop show, and then Hip Hop Period was born. And you know what I'm saying? It's just so much. Like, I could talk about Rahwa for 10 years, and I probably will, because she was just that important, man. Like, I love y'all. Even if I don't know you, I love you. Even if you don't know my face, I probably watched you grow up. You know what I mean? Like, and if y'all ever need anything, like, I'm your family too, you know? And a lot of these people are your family too. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. Love.
I love you, Lord. And I lift my voice to worship you. Oh, my soul, rejoice. And take joy, my queen, in what you hear. Let me be the sweet sound in your
my soul cut off. Rahwa. Sorry, I'm like the crybaby, the crybaby. That was my partner, man. That was my friend. And my big sis, I was the baby. I am mom, still the baby because all of y'all are hella old.
You are the baby.
I still am the baby, you know, but I was in here 14, 15, 16 years old, 16 and pregnant, fed, loved on. You know, my mom would be tripping, and Asmeta and Lulu and Rahwa would feed me and take me in and just be there. And, you know, she made space for me in ways that I hadn't experienced space before. And that's what Rahwa did. That's such a big part of her legacy. I was telling Jonathan, I believe that everything is in divine timing, you feel me? But it just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. But, you know, Weezy was, she was it. She was the light. She made space for us. She literally fed me, you know. And I'm just thankful that I had the experience of knowing her, that my son was able to know her, and that I was able to build the community that I did. And a big part of that is owed to her. So thank you to her family for sharing Rahwa with us, and letting us be part of your family too. Me and Dakota did hella things here. I probably did a lot of things I had no business doing here either, but that was Rahwa too. Right? She was like, "You want to smoke cigarettes? Okay." Right, you know, the things we all know. The book is closed now. But yeah, I'm just thankful to be around all of y'all, and thank you for sharing her with us. Love you. Thank you.
Hafa and everybody. My name's Dakota, and this is my sister, Deanne. It's hella weird to be on this block and not be ciphering right now. This is where I grew up. This is where I became the person that I am, under the close watch of Rahwa. I escaped high school every day just to come here. And yeah, Gabe was right. You know, Gabriel and Khalil are a big part of what saved my life. My sister taking me here to this city. And I learned how to connect to my ancestors through writing rhymes. And one day I said, I want to be able to go to Gabe and Khalil's show, but there's no all ages shows around. So can we start all ages hip hop shows here? And Rahwa just said, yeah. When do you want to start? And the first show we ever did was on Thanksgiving. And we just did all ages monthly hip hop shows at a time when there were no all ages hip hop shows in the town. And it was a safe place. I want to say something about, you know, at one point I was serving food here too. I didn't work here. But I just wanted to be able to help out. This place really felt like home, like my family's house, where everybody was fed, taken care of. there's so many memories that I have here, and so many memories I have of Rahwa just having the biggest, most open heart, and just being an example of living in your deepest, truest self. Easily, hella easy. So I wanna honor Rahwa tonight. I'm gonna ask my sister to put her on the spot a little bit by singing one of our songs from our peoples. It's a song that honors mothers and the matrilineage. I feel like Rahwa was a patron mother saint of Seattle, and so I want to offer this song tonight in memory of Rahwa and in honor of the legacy, in honor of the matrilineage that she comes from, in honor of all people who were mothered by Hidmo. The song is called Not in a Now.
and love to your family. Awesome.
Maja Shan and I was joined to the hip to Rahwa when we worked together at One America. And this is the first time actually I've been out in public since COVID. It's hard for me to imagine being in a place in public without Rahwa there. But my relationship with Rahwa started actually, I was on her interview panel. So when she first started at One America, we were supposed to be interviewing her. And this was under Pramila Jayapal time, as you were mentioning. And instead of the interview, Rahwa and I ended up connecting. We were both first-generation immigrants. We were both acting as bridges to our family. We both cared about community. We both came from the Orthodox faith. So my boss walked into the middle of the interview, and instead of me asking her questions, Rahwa and I were planning for the next event. And my boss was like, but we haven't even hired her yet. Like, why are you planning things with her? And I was like, we would be idiots if we didn't hire someone like her. We need her. And over the next 4 years, Rahwa's impact on not just me, but everybody she worked with on immigrant rights issue didn't just change this area. It changed our nation in a way. She made it fun. Immigrant rights organizing, I don't know if you all remember during those times, was kind of boring. You showed up to events, you talked, and then you left. And it wasn't until Rahwa came that we started bringing music. We started having street fairs during disobedience in the middle of the street. We brought teal balloons out. We were going out and being loud. We were having fun when we were organizing. She would bring her family over, and that's how I met a lot of you all. And it became a family affair. And this is what Rahwa really taught me and other people. It's how you bring love and you combine that with moral clarity, and that you can still enjoy what you're doing. That is something that not a lot of people have. And Rahwa's light went wherever she went. And she, later on, when she moved to the city and she did the work there, she took that light with her. Every space Rahwa touched, it was the light. And while she may not physically be here with us right now, she's in our hearts and in our minds, and she is a light to all of us. And I know she's up there in heaven organizing people. She's up there with our mentor, David Ayala. They're probably causing trouble up there with some music and dancing, and all we can do is mimic that. So my condolences to all, and big virtual hug to all of you.
I feel like I'm going to be bad. Rahwa and I were bad together. And so I was like, what should I say? I don't have anything appropriate to say. No, the first thing that Rahwa said to me was that, oh, you said my name right. Because Asmaret, I'm revealing a little something. She was about to dip out on college and go home. She's like, I'm done with WSU. I need you to take care of Rahwa. So this is how you say her name. This is my apartment key. I'll see you later. And then Rahwa's like, she abandoned me, and she's like, my sister abandoned me, and she walks into the house, and she's like, oh, you're Lulu, and we said our names right. Since that time, I think this is really hard for me because Salam's here. Hi, Salam. We had all these dreams, and then Salam came along. She was saying, like, I want to come too. Remember we went on the train ride? I think we decided a long time ago how we were going to end our life and how we were going to raise our kids together. I really loved her, and I don't know what story to tell you right now. I feel like I let her go, and that's hard because I felt like there was enough time to heal. You don't know when you're going to lose somebody, and I thought there was going to be time. Because we had these plans of like, we were going to be in an RV, we're going to travel around the world. We were going to do all these funny things. I would just basically follow her. She was the first person that made me realize that I would never be homeless because she had all of you, you know. Her and Asmaret realized I was just like, I had this deep fear that I'd be houseless, that I had no friends. Some of us come from lots of trauma, that we don't have anybody to hold on to. And it was the first time that I had a family, and I looked around the community and we all said that we would hold each other if something went wrong. And in some ways we went our own ways, but sometimes when things hit, we come back to each other and we have each other's backs. And so I just want to say that I love you all for being my family, no matter the distance, no matter the hardship, no matter the struggle. And I'm so sorry that we lost her, because we don't know sometimes people's deepest pains, and I want you all to know, as like a survivor, as a person that loves other people, like let that truth out so we can heal each other together. So
I want to say thank you. My name is Amos, met Rahwa here at Hipmo with Gabe. And I feel like Rahwa gave so much to all of us. Some stars are in the sky for a really long time, and some stars are just there for a little bit, but they're really bright and they're really strong. That was Rahwa, and that she was able to give so much to us. People have found their life's partner at the Hipmo. People found their passion at the Hipmo. People were inspired to start their own Hipmo at the Hipmo. Rahwa struggled as an addict, as I do, and as a lot of other people do. And it's super important that we all give, just respect and just kind of acknowledge that recovery community that was so crucially important to mental health for people that deal with this disease. And there are people that are still suffering there. And I think it's super important that we understand that impact, that right now in COVID, without having a meeting, without having community, it's even harder for an addict. It's harder for anybody with the disease. It's harder for everybody. So if you have a disease or if you have an affliction like that, it's also really important that the family, thank you for being you, because you held Rahwa, you made Rahwa who she was, and know that the family extends now past you guys to all of these other people like me and everybody else here. And that hopefully your kids can learn what she did. Like your family's kids should know who Auntie Rahwa or whoever Rahwa was to her and how many lives she affected. And hopefully there's a mural here on this building forever in the building owner's coup. And hopefully there's other, things that can happen where little mini Rahwas can put the pieces together. Because that's what she was. She gave it all so that we could feel these feelings, and I could see these people, and I could know these faces forever, ever. And life would have it, and God would have it, and there's no judgment that she would leave early. But it's on us to continue, I believe, to continue to please tell the children who she was and have that live forward. And blessings to Asmaret and the whole family. And we love you, Rahwa.
I've worked with Rahwa and Asmaret. Asmaret was one of my mentors that trained me back in the day. And think about all the great memories that I have of Rahwa and the fun times we used to have working together as a crisis intervention specialist, but also too, we did other stuff as well. And I'm an alcoholic, and tomorrow I'm going to celebrate 25 years, and today I came by and I just left my 24-year coin out here for Rahwa, and with this disease, it's just it's body, mind, and soul, and she was a great spirit. However, the disease does not discriminate, and took out a great person that had a brilliant mind. And know, all I was able to do for her was love her and support her and set my boundaries. And we had an amazing heart talk. And I always let her know I would always be, you know. But this disease is the only disease that would tell you that you don't have no longer family. You don't have no friends. Everyone has turned on you. If you're struggling with anything, depression, just know it's not true. We are here. And, you know, and from the other side, sometimes we just have to just love someone from afar and let them do what they need to do. You know? And that is the hardest friggin' thing. You know, now I'm never gonna forget Rahwa. I mean, it's gonna like, you know, she also passed on my mother's birthday. That's, you know, and I was like, okay, she's, you know, she's with our people now, you know. And I am a person it's hard for me to cry. Whew. But I have cried. And, you know, I just know it as Madette, and I don't even know you guys, but you know what? She's amazing, Rahwa was amazing, so I'm sure all of you guys are amazing, and my deepest condolences, and you know, and just meeting you right now, but I love you guys, and you're always going to be in my prayer. Okay?
Thank you.
My name is Aryam, and I moved to Seattle 10 years ago from Arizona, and I came here all by myself. I knew nobody, and I met a couple of the Habte kids, and Temesgen one day called me, and I lived right up the street, literally could walk here, and I mean, studio apartment all by myself, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Nothing." It was like 8 o'clock at night or something. I'm like, "Nothing, by myself." He said, "Let's go to Hudmo," and I said, "What's Hudmo?" He's like, Temesgen never tells you details. He's like, "Let's just go." And you're like, "All right." So I trusted a guy I met like 3 weeks before that. Sure, let's go. So I show up, and when I grew up in the urchin community in Arizona, there's not a lot of us, but I also was a huge activist, and I really spoke out for community voices, and everybody thought I was crazy, thought I was weird. I didn't fit in. There was no other Eritrean people or Ethiopian people in Arizona that were like me, so I got shunned a lot. And then I came here, and I was like, wow, this really means home. And it was so much so that he introduced me to Rahwa, who was running around, of course, like a busy person. And he went to do something and left me with Rahwa. And then she said, "Do you want to meet my sister, Asmadet?" And I said, "Sure." And she was in the kitchen cooking. And I was like, I'm not going to bother her, you know? And then they were like, "That's not, whatever." And she just kicked me to the kitchen and literally left me in the kitchen with her Asmadet. And she had to go do something. And I remember meeting you, and I was leaving like, this is really awkward. I don't know these people. But and then Asmadet was just talking to me, cooking. And in true Hudmo home fashion, she was like, "Can you hold this? Can you do this?" And I was like, "Listen, I don't make injera, like I don't cook. You're on your own." She was like, "It's okay, you can wash the dishes." I'm in. I was like, okay, I can do that. And I just kind of was there. And then I was there all the time. And I remember I asked Rahwa one time I came, I worked a night shift, so in the morning, I was like, "Do you like have free Wi-Fi?" And she was like, "I mean, I don't usually give it out all the time, but sure." And she just gave it to me, and I was like, "You caused the problem." Because then I was like, "Do you have tea?" She was like, "Yeah." And then I was here almost every day in the morning, sometimes completely by myself, like one person who was working, tea, Wi-Fi, and my laptop. And then, you know, lunchtime crowd would come in and do stuff. And slowly I met more of the family, and now they can't get rid of me, whether they like it or not. But I just remember feeling so much like at home, so much like somebody who understood me and who got it, and who didn't think it was weird, you know? And so some of you don't know, but I'm friends on Facebook with some of you, and I stalk all of your great pages, because I just met people that I felt like got it, who I knew really cared, and who Rahwa knew cared. So she introduced me to people at Hudmo slowly, and then as I remember the first time I think I met Lulu, I was like, "Can I just stalk her on Facebook? Can I just be her friend, whether she knows who I am?" Because I met her once, and I just kept meeting people that way at Hudmo too, and then obviously the rest of the family. So I mean, I know the Habte family is like that. That's how family is. But I just thank you, Rahwa, because that was just the door that was open, and I literally had a really hard time the first few years living here because I didn't have friends. And Rahwa and I didn't even become really close, but she was just like, you can come every day, all the time. She was like, even if no one's here, like if I'm not here, other people, you don't have to wait for me. Just show up and they'll let you in. And after a while, they had no choice because I would just be here, you know. And I just think that she, you know, I think a lot of people have spoke to what she wanted to create, and I think she definitely created that in this random person who showed up from Arizona and just felt like nobody had to tell them anything, and they could just come to Hoodmo every day, and that this was their home. And I randomly would go in the kitchen and like sneak to see if Asmara was there, if Rahwa was there, and everyone else, if it wasn't them, never said anything. Nobody cared. If they weren't even there, I was allowed to go wherever I wanted and do whatever I wanted. And so to the Hoodmo crew, like, thank you for always just following Rahwa and Asmara's, like, you know, kind of the groove of Hoodmo to just let me keep doing that. And then obviously to the family for just sharing that sense of community and culture and wealth and love that doesn't always exist in Seattle the same way, and definitely not for me before I moved here. So I just want to say that, and everybody, I don't know who said it, but to keep doing that, right? To make sure my daughter knows that, and other kids know that, and other people know to just continue to love on each other no matter what.
Thank you.
So, Rahwa was light, she was patient, she was quirky, funny as hell, but whatever she did it with love, and the kindness she exudes. She will feed you if you're hungry, and she will clothe you if you're poor, and that's all that God asks us to do. I'm not gonna ask us when we in Gateway 7 how much money we have in our account. We had kids, how big was the house? He's gonna say, did you clothe the needy and did you feed the poor? And my sister did that every day since she was little. And she created Habesha school in our basement. She was well read. She loved literacy. She taught most of our kids how to read by the age of 3 or 4. They got their love for reading and everything from Rahwa. She was Christmas. Wakes up in the morning and there's, you know, something's baking in the oven and turns on Elvis's Christmas. And all the Christmas carols we could think of, and does our happy dance. Those are the laughters. Wherever Rahwa was, there was laughter. She was the most non-confrontational person I know. She was doing de-escalation trainings at Pullman when they knew de-escalation. Have an opportunity to go to the United Nations at a young age in the 90s when she wrote an essay about peace, because that's who she was, from birth to then. When I miss my baby, but like everybody says, she's in all of us, and I promise we will continue the legacy, and I'm just gonna miss her. Hello! On the phone. Hello! That was Rahwa. We're gonna lay her to rest on Saturday. Everyone's welcome to the cemetery, social distancing by the cars, because only 30 are allowed in the middle. Continue her light, let her light keep shining. Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Come, sweetheart. What do you want to say?
Thank you all for coming to my auntie Rahwa's memorial.
Yeah, there you go.
My name is Messiah Highness. Thank you for coming to my auntie Rahwa's memorial. If you don't know me, I am Nasrid, and your highness's daughter. Thank you for coming. Air hug.
All right. And with that's the best way to end it. So thank you all. Appreciate y'all.
That's pretty good. Good job. Give me 5.
That's half of her name. Yeah. You want to do the rest?
That's
Auntie Leah, and that's Rahwa. Yes. Thank you.
Thanks for setting all this up. Yeah, it's like the trio exploded.
Hey, you. I remember we didn't say hi to you. How are you doing? Hi, hi, hi.